A lot of stuff happening in 2024.
A lot of changes.
Yeah,
a lot of changes on the chessboard per se, but at the end of the day, pattern recognition is key. When you identify patterns, all you have to do is you have to bet towards where you see the cycle headed. So when you see usually, Republican presidencies take place, the markets tend to perform extremely well. So people are already pricing in Trump winning, him supporting Bitcoin, him supporting the crypto space, him starting to open up trade a little bit more, reduce corporate tax, which is going to bring more business to America. So he has all these things that are cooking up, markets pricing it in, and I think we are headed somewhere excited. I'm pumped for it.
Definitely. And do you think that it's gonna happen? Do you think he's gonna become president again?
I think he's going to become president. I think more so than anything, it's going to give us 4 years where maybe wars and turmoil are going to be less crazy due to the fact that Russia, China, right now they don't respect the United States. It's very simple, very straightforward. Your president can't walk upstairs, right? So the United States right now is in a little bit of a vulnerable situation. We have Saudi Arabia right now beginning to allow the exchange of oil in other currencies, not just the petrodollar, because that agreement is up. So now what held the dollar strong is no longer there, so now you have force. So Donald Trump has to go around and start making relationships again, mending things up with countries. And I think that that's pretty much what his tenure is going to look like. I think it might be crazy from the inside, and we might see the attempts of potential takeover of elections. But certain things we can't say because they're going to go on YouTube. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
I find it so fascinating, because especially even with Biden stepping down, it'll be a shock to the masses. But I've been hearing about it on Twitter for weeks or maybe even months. Kind of necessary, as you said, like when your president's falling upstairs and not knowing where to go after a speech. But it is crazy. And I know Donald Trump's really heavily been quite vocal on his support for crypto and Bitcoin, for example. I think he's speaking actually at
the Bitcoin conference.
Yeah. But is there any worry that it's one of those things where it's to get the votes, get the election, and then no action afterwards?
I mean, yes and no. Yes, in the aspect of, obviously, there's a huge voter base that supports Bitcoin. Therefore, if you support it by proxy, they'll like you more. But there's a ton of billionaires and a ton of lobbying taking place on the crypto side to make sure that crypto wins. Right now, you see a lot of exchanges. I talked to a lot of head of exchanges, and they're telling me, we're getting crackdowns from either the SEC, or we're getting crackdowns now from a new organization in Europe called MiCA, M-I-C-A, that is basically the SEC that blankets all of Europe. So now all of these exchanges need to be compliant under this new European SEC. So they're starting to build DEXs and become decentralized, because now politics is becoming a tool of weaponry. So you're seeing a lot of billionaires, a lot of very rich companies like Coinbase go to Capitol Hill and say, hey, we want crypto to be taken care of. So if Donald Trump is taking money from these guys are getting favors in return. It's the name of the game. So he wants to keep crypto in-house. Ideally, the United States build some sort of Bitcoin treasury or reserve. We see the potentiality of Larry Fink becoming maybe involved in the treasury, or maybe involved in some sort of financial position advising the president. And we know that he's very pro-Bitcoin now with the Bitcoin ETFs. So now we see the institutionalization of Bitcoin. Now we need it to go to the next phase, which is government awareness. And naturally, all these suits, right? Larry Fink and company, dude, their bags are packed. If you don't think so, then you haven't been paying attention. Fidelity's been buying Bitcoin since 2015, mining it, right? So they're ready to play the game. We see the Ethereum ETF rolling around, the potentiality of a Solana ETF. So now the legal battles are taken care of. Now we know what process to take. But unless the United States, and they've obviously realized it, and I think that this is where it's headed with Trump, unless they kind of lean in and validate crypto internally, crypto's going to go to Dubai, crypto's going to go to Singapore, crypto's going to go overseas. And their companies, they don't care. They'll do it. They'll leave. They've proven it. So the US needs to cultivate it for their own safety and security, for the security of the currency and things of this nature. So I think it's going to be a good thing for crypto. I think we're heading into a really good season, a bullish season, and a season that has been expected for a really long period of time, especially with the ETF approvals beyond just the one of Bitcoin.